The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and are not those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stuart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Rizacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes.
Sleep apnea, heart disease.
Everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Good morning, Stuart, Florida. Good morning, Treasure Coast. And good morning to the rest of the world who is hopefully listening on our online streaming app available at WSTU. My name is Dr. Tred Rizacker, and I am a doctor of chiropractic. And I am the man who brought the fat laser to Stuart, Florida. This laser lipo fat reducing machine is absolutely it's world-class results. We've been here going on 7 years, almost 8 years, between 4,500 and 5,000 residents, clients, friends have been through the process in the last 7 years. We're not going away. We're growing. We're getting bigger and bigger. More and more people are enjoying the results of quick, easy, fast body sculpting, belly shrinking, reducing thighs, lessening bra bulges, shrinking, reducing, making smaller with a laser. It's not diet dependent. You can't screw this one up, people. It's a laser. It doesn't care if you believe in it. It doesn't care if you're white, black, short, tall. It doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. It does not matter whether or not you've even heard of the procedure. It doesn't care if you believe in it or not. It's a laser. It's measured, it's predictable, it's consistent, and it produces results which can be expected and duplicated each and every time. That is absolutely mind-blowing when it comes to weight loss and body, trying to change your physical body. There's so many factors that can come into play. But when you use a laser, we're using something which is not diet dependent. Really, it doesn't, you can overeat yourself out of any result. Let's be upfront here. If you're going to power down 5,000 and 6,000 calorie meals, there's no laser, no surgery. There's no device that can help you lose weight if you're going to eat that much. But for the person that eats regularly, normal, within reason, has a few empty calories in the form of alcohol and some sweets a couple times a week, maybe even a couple times a day, this laser works really, really well. It's my goal to explain the technology and exactly what you can expect if you're interested in coming in for a free consultation. We don't, if I cannot reasonably explain the results of the laser and describe it in a way that you feel value in it, then, it wouldn't be worth anything. So my goal is to make sure that you're a good candidate, that you understand how the procedure works, and that I truly believe that you're going to get results that you can expect. So you're happy. That's really important to me. So if you have been frustrated before and have failed at weight loss, then my FDA cleared lipo laser could be the answer for you. You can get high speed, high definition, faster than ever weight loss and body sculpting by signing up for my ultimate laser assisted weight loss program. My program is 3 times a week for 3 weeks. You lay on the laser. When you first come in, you're greeted by the staff. We do a consultation and a brief history pertinent to your problem, the area you wish to reduce. And then after you've agreed and we pay the fee, you pay for the plan, then you go in and we take digital pictures, we measure the area, and then you move into the private laser room where the procedure is applied to whatever area you wish to reduce, whether it's your arms or your thighs or your weight around your ankles, your knees. You can put it all different places. Most people choose their abdomen and their muffin tops or their love handles to start with, and you relax and you're on your back for 30 minutes with the laser being applied. Once the laser comes off, you then move into something called the whole body vibration area, and that's where you stand on looks almost like a Segway. You stand on this plate, and they're becoming much more popular. A lot of people know about them. They're called whole body vibration. One brand is a Hypervibe. We use a brand called a Nobler K1, which is a high-end commercial quality whole body vibration. But basically what the vibration plate does, it circulates the calories. It starts stimulating the burn of the acid, the fatty acids. It also helps to release the tissue and to strengthen and to lose weight at the same time in only 10 minutes. So once you do the 10 minutes, typically people got to pee after that because it releases some fluid, right? And you lose an inch. Approximately, a half inch to an inch in those 3 measurements, in one of those 3 measurements around your midsection. So each time a person can achieve about an inch to an inch and a half result times 9 sessions, 3 times a week for 3 weeks. And after the 9th session, this is where we lose 6 to 9 inches. This is not something you have to wait for, people. You don't have to wait for the bruising to go away or the drains to heal up or the surgical incisions to repair themselves. This is non-surgery, no pain, no dangerous injections, no crazy diets. It is a non-invasive, FDA-cleared, low-level laser. It is not an LED machine. This is not just a light emitting machine, as so many of these procedures are. It is not fat freezing, nothing even close to it. This is not fat burning. We're not burning fat with high powered lasers like SafeSculpt and SculpSure. This is not radio frequency. This is not radio waves penetrating deep into your skin to try to aggravate and to stimulate the skin to tighten. This is not what we're doing here. It's so safe. It's so well tolerated. It's so effective. Only, it's hard for me to really share with you my excitement about it. I'm doing this now, 10 years. I think I'm more excited today than I was when I first realized it worked. Because now I'm seeing all the different people, the sizes, the gender, boys, girls, adults, teenagers, all elderly people, people with metabolic challenges, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, people with high blood sugar, people that are borderline hyperglycemic. They're heading towards diabetes and they know it. And they don't really have any, real tools or options besides just waiting and being put on medication. So this procedure, because I'm a chiropractor, I'm a doctor, I'm a primary care portal of entry provider, you can feel safe and that when we come in, that we're not going to do something that's out of the norm. It's, I have a medical license. I don't want to lose that. I'm very careful that I treat the right people. And if I don't think somebody's a good candidate, I will tell them and refer them to a better place as a candidate. So I'm really excited about the program. If you'd like more information, we're located at East Ocean Boulevard, right across from the Fresh Market on East Ocean Boulevard. It used to be the old Haagen-Dazs, for those of you who maybe had ice cream there, but now it's called the Slim Body Laser Spa. And we're open on Monday through Friday from 8 to 6, Saturdays from 8 to 12. And I have 4 private laser rooms available. We're able to handle between 20 and 40 people a day. So right now we're topping out about 25 to 30 per day. And I have to reach over and pinch myself to say that, because I remember only 3-4 years ago, we used to close on Fridays. We didn't have enough people. Now we're thinking of, I wish we had an 8th day to take care of everybody. And we have repeat customers, alumni, some of the, regular people just like you and me listening, and some really high-end people, some high net worth people have come in because it just works. So there's nothing, I could talk all day till I'm blue in the face, but nothing is stronger than a testimonial of somebody who wants to share their results from our laser spa. Now, of course, the best testimonial is me. I was 265 pounds in 2012, 265 pounds, 6'1". I was overweight, and I had the onset of diabetes very suddenly for me. And I had attempted to lose weight in the past. I can be successful at losing weight. I've never kept it off. And it's always a really long, slow, laborious process to try to lose weight. And that was even when I had good hormones, when my hormones were popping, in my 40s and 50s. So as I got older and my hormones started to change, as it does with all of us, this fat becomes stubborn, and it's really tough. So thank goodness, some good friends of mine and people that care for me and love me told me, hey, why don't you put the laser on yourself? And I'm like, well, that's an idea. I've done it before, but I never really lost any weight with it. I lost inches. I dropped 8 inches. I dropped 3 inches of girth like 2 years before that when I first got the machine, but I didn't eat any different. I didn't change my diet. So I didn't really get rid of that much body fat. I got rid of the outer fat. I looked better, but I wasn't really that much healthier. And then what I did this last time, I committed to a diet which was low in refined carbohydrates. Typically someone who has diabetes has to cut out the sugar. I did that. And at the end of the 4th week on the laser, I dropped 4 inches of girth. I went from a 40 waist to a 36 waist. Wow, did I look better and feel better. But I hadn't achieved my goal of losing that 10 to 20% of my body fat. So I continued to eat better for 3 months. I dropped 10 pounds a month for 3 months. At the end of that 4th month, I was down 38 pounds, looked better, feel better. Diabetes was in remission, going away. And I carried that story out, and here I am today. It's 5-6 years ago, and I'm still a 36 waist. My weight is 220 right now, and it was 265. Mike had some similar results.
I did. Went through the program and ended up losing over 6 inches off my waist, off of my belly there. Had it done a little bit on the chest area, had a little bit on the love handles, even had was laying on my stomach and had some applied kind of like on my back area a little bit just to kind of cut down. And it was amazing the results I saw in just 3 weeks. It was incredible.
Yep. So we are doing great, and I have somebody to share a story with you. Angela, are you there?
I am.
Hey,
Good
how
morning.
are you? Yay! Clap your hands.
Yes, not my face.
Have you heard that before? Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you heard about the Slim Body and your experience, and would you refer other people? Would you recommend it?
Let's just start with I would recommend this to everyone.
Nice.
Let's just start with that. I found out about it purely by accident, going through a local ad, found it, and said, I don't know, maybe
Seems too good to be true, huh?
It really does. I have a life-altering illness. I have multiple sclerosis. I've had it for almost 21 years. I take no medication for it. And I've been told to do other things like go on a plant-based diet and all kinds of,
Natural,
wonderful things.
Holistic stuff.
So it's great. But I also had a life-saving surgery, and I wasn't told about hormonal changes, and I morphed. And the person looking back in the mirror at me was someone I didn't recognize, my family and friends didn't recognize. So on a lark, I followed up on the ad and came to Stuart. and met with the doctor and his staff, and they
That's me.
yes, it's
You can say Dr.
yay!
Tread.
And explained everything and discovered there are no contraindications, and the only thing I had to lose was inches. So I tried it, and I lost 9.5 inches in 3 weeks. I'm now on a maintenance plan. By the measurements of weight, I've lost now 11 pounds during the holidays, by the way. So this really works. And I've gone from, let's just say, because we women don't like to say what size we are, but I could not close a size 14 pant, and now I have size 12s that are very loose on me. So not quite into a 10, but in 1 month's time, I've lost about a size and a half.
With hormonal challenges, as so many people can relate to.
Right.
And also, over the holiday,
right,
which is more difficult,
right,
with a challenge of an MS diagnosis. So it affects your ability to exercise and really be active, right? Somewhat.
Yes, because I have gait issues, so I fall a lot.
Right.
So I've been very restricted as to what I have been able to do and not do. So
And
not
could
only
we
does
ask
the
how
laser
old-
work, but the vibration machine is really helping me with my balance.
And you are in your 50s, correct?
I am 53. I'll
Right.
be 54 this summer.
Right. And yeah.
Full disclosure, go ahead, let her rip.
Well, people might think you sound young. You sound like you're in your 20s or something.
I'm 12.
Yeah.
My internal child is 12.
Yeah, you're very youthful too. Wow, I don't think I could say it any better than that, Angela.
Well-
That's fantastic. Now, you are on a mission to really become healthier and well and to maintain and sustain.
I
And
have
that's-
to.
And that's why you did the alumni after the end of the 9 sessions.
Yes.
Right. Now, let's be clear. When you say 9 inches, let's let people understand that. That means that you've lost 3 inches in girth in 3 spots.
Correct.
Right. It doesn't mean you went like a Twiggy with 9 inches in
No,
circumference.
not
That
at
would
all,
be a
but-
freak.
But the difference is right under my bra line, because that would be the best way to describe it. So between under my bra line to just under my navel
Yeah, 3
is
inches
where
in
it's
girth.
gone. And I did tweak my diet, but just a little bit. I mean, I'm still enjoying life,
Mm-hmm.
It's all about, the good times and the good taste and let the good times roll, but within moderation. So instead of eating, half a cake, I'll eat maybe a slice, or I'll eat a quarter of a slice of cake, or
I want you to know how many people are listening out there who a quarter slice of cake would put them in the 10-pound gain range.
sure.
They'll put on 4 or 5 pounds. At one bagel, I remember one woman, she said, I ate a bagel and I'd gained 3 pounds after one bagel. I said, well, you're holding on a lot of water with that bagel.
Yeah.
It isn't just the bagel, it's the salt and the water. And,
It's all those other
fantastic.
good things that come with it.
Yeah. So no pain, right?
No pain. It's probably one of the most relaxing times of my day. Excuse me. In fact, I love coming here. There's wonderful, relaxing music that's played, and I'm wrapped up like a special little package that I am. And the staff just takes care of me. And frankly, if it weren't for the sound of the machine to be beeping for the timer,
Mhm.
I would be asleep. So I get 3 quick 10-minute naps when I'm here.
And losing inches.
And I'm losing inches, and
And
then I go to
becoming
the vibration
healthier.
machine, and it rock and rolls me, and it's improving my balance. I'm certain that it's helping with my cortisol, which is one of the things that happens with stress, which we all have, and,
Mhm.
and for women, especially women of a certain age, and peri, post, and menopausal women, we have a lot of issues with cortisol because
Mhm.
of the stressors and the hormones that are changing in our body. So,
So let me
everyone's noticed a difference. So
let me ask you
Mhm.
a question about the cost. Now,
Yes.
when people hear this, they're listening and without understanding what we're doing, they
Mhm.
compare it against maybe liposuction or some serious, things that cost $5, $10, $15,000. I had recently spoke to a colleague who was doing the fat freezing procedure. I won't speak the name, but everybody knows what it is.
Mhm.
And he had called me and said, I just had a client spend $22,000 on the cool sculpting.
Oh my.
And I'm like, $22,000? What could you have done? and it's a $600 and they do it twice, so it's $1,200, $1,400. Then they do the legs, the arms, the chin, all these different. It was $22,000. So ours is $2,800. Correct? Was that what we had given you, or did I work with you?
Actually, it's something like that. To be quite honest, I don't remember because it was an investment in myself.
Right.
And the changes are rapid for me. I'm very blessed that that's what's happening for me.
And you're supporting a family, right? You have a child, right?
I have a child, and then I have other people that are, I have a mother-in-law, I have a mother, I have my child, I have other people's children. I'm that collective mother of the neighborhood. So, and I love that, and I'm blessed to have the extended family that way. But, budget wise, look, the downtime is relaxing time and regenerative for your mind, body, and soul.
Mm-hmm.
I feel, and at least, I can only speak for myself, but the cost is, I think there's no comparison. I'm not being cut. I'm not having to worry about stitches, drains, anesthesia, complications of anesthesia, not waking up. I'm not burdening anyone. I'm not on medication.
Wow.
You're
able to explain it better than me. You're absolutely right. And you got a guarantee of 3-inch loss when you started, right?
I had a guarantee, and it was, if this doesn't work.
That was done in the first day, by the way.
First day. I had 3 inches in the first day. I was very lucky.
Of 9, sis. Of 9.
Of 9.
Days, right.
9.5. Let's be clear. 9.5 and 10. I lied. It's not 11 pounds. It's 10.8. But
what's the other half? I'm lost there.
I have 9.5.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant 9 sessions, 9.5 sessions.
No, 9.5 inches. Wow. And I'm a short girl, so it really shows up. I mean, I'm barely 5 feet tall.
Right.
So,
Very, very curvaceous.
I'm a curvy girl.
Yes, you are.
Well,
Yeah.
The meat is for the man and the bone is for the dog. So let's just leave it like that. And we're getting to some bones, I'm seeing parts of me I haven't seen in quite, at least 2.5 years.
It's nice just to have the choice, if that's the way you want to look, to be able to achieve it.
I just think that this is a wonderful, non-invasive, relaxing way to go. I know people that have had tummy tucks and augmentations and reductions, and we're in South Florida, so we know someone that's had that stuff, and it's non-invasive. You only have inches to lose. Give it a try. I wrote a testimonial. It's posted, I think, on Google.
Wow.
The staff here, if you don't want to hear me now, or you want more confirmation, read what I wrote about this place. The staff is wonderful. It's very welcoming. They take time. They listen to you. My schedule gets jacked up all the time, like everyone else. And, you guys have been very accommodating here to understand that life gets in the way of our plans. So it's just it's a blessing. It's a warm, welcoming place. And I couldn't be happier. And people are seeing the results. I don't always see what people are saying. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But the proof was trying to put a pair of pants on to come here that first day, and they didn't close.
Oh, you told me about that.
And I went home and I said, all right, let's see if this really works. Let's see if maybe they just did something tricky with the measurements. No, it's like an old commercial. I went home and I put the pants on. They zipped up and they buttoned. I didn't have to lay on the bed. I didn't have to get the clothes hanger and pull up the zipper. This wasn't like my 80s jeans, so it was good.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I could talk to you
Thank
forever. That's awesome, Angela. Thank you so much. And you make me proud. I'll tell you, when I go in, and all of our clients are fantastic. And thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for you and your wonderful staff. So,
all right. Sounds good. See you in the spa.
You bet. Have a good one. Take care.
Continue thinness.
Yay. Take care. Bye.
She was great.
Yeah. She has again, it's kind of surprising that you have something which doesn't require diet or exercise. And I'm going to be explain why that is. It doesn't mean that you don't require to eat less or exercise. That's a foundation of health and wellness. You have to eat good, healthy food to build good, healthy tissue, right? You wouldn't put crummy gas in your beautiful Jaguar or your beautiful car and expect it to run properly. So you have to eat good, lean, clean, green foods. You know what's right and what's wrong. This is no more misunderstanding about this. So, eating is important to eat properly, but what the laser is doing is why she can have such results so quickly is the laser is targeting the outer compartment of stored calories called subcutaneous. And that outer compartment, if you want to know where it is, take your finger, your hands, reach down to your belly. If you can squeeze the fat, the skin between your fingers in front of the muscle, that's subcutaneous fat. That is it's a layer of fat which protects you from hot and cold. It stores extra calories when we overeat a lot. And it's also activated when mama gets pregnant. It's there to store calories in preparation for the coming of a child. Now, is obviously a very, very important feature with humans, that we have this ability to raise young ones, offspring, so our race continues. And our Creator made it very, very easy to do that, because when mom gets pregnant, her hormones change. Let's be realistic. Estrogen and testosterone, those are, the female hormone's estrogen. The male hormone is testosterone. A woman's estrogen is very, very large with just a little bit of testosterone. And when she's having her period, what happens is her estrogen becomes more dominant. It starts to raise. And that estrogen dominance causes the fat to be prioritized to accumulate in the outer compartment. So 10,000 years ago, or even today, when moms get pregnant, their metabolism changes where they're not going to become fat internally unless they really overeat. The tendency is to put fat in the outer compartment. That's the subcutaneous compartment. And that is going to be the source of calories when the baby is born, because the hormones come back. So when those hormones disappear during pregnancy and you're making this outer layer, and then they come back when the baby is born, then that fat is released again by the body in a very graduated, proper way. Let's say 1 to 3 years. In other words, your ancestors 10 to 20,000 years ago, when they had a baby, that fat lasted 2 to 3 years. Baby had to be fed. Yet we are 6 months of breastfeeding, 8 months sometimes not at all. And we wonder why we've accumulated this subcutaneous fat. If, one of the best ways to lose weight after pregnancy is by breastfeeding. Any doctors will tell you that. Now, not everybody can do that because of physical problems and other reasons. Please, I'm not being critical of that. But if you want to lose that extra fat, breastfeed, and you burn an enormous amount of calories. But what happens is we cut that off short with a lot of us. Or maybe we have multiple pregnancies and we really had never breastfed any of our children. And what will happen is that subcutaneous fat compartment will become very stubborn and thicker. And it appears to be fat, and it is fat, but it's not your metabolic fat. It's not the fat that you're burning when you don't eat. Your body utilizes visceral fat when you're hungry. The fat that's internal around your organs is called visceral fat. And these are the people that lead to high BMIs, the people that have 25%, 30% body fat, 35, 40%. A lot of that can occur just in the visceral fat system. And then the subcutaneous is an outer compartment. My procedure, all the procedures, whether it's liposuction, the fat freezing, whether it's the hot laser, the Safe Sculpt, Sculpture, Cool Sculpting, Radio Frequency, Vanquish, VeloShape, all those procedures, we're all targeting that same layer of fat, that outer layer, which is why you can lose inches without diet and exercise, because it's an outside procedure that's being done outside the body to help reduce and shrink that fat. The difference between Slim Body Laser Spa and all those other procedures are we do not damage tissue to make results. We are not destroying or killing fat cells. And that's really important to understand that. The other procedures, whether they use cold air, to freeze it. Now let's talk about that. This year, this other procedure is the fat freezing procedure. They spent $74 million last year in advertising that. So you think that is the number one choice for people. And there's big billboards and there's a huge amount of money being spent. They're sponsoring with movie stars and sports people and people that exercise or are becoming paid representatives of this procedure. And what it's doing is it's a device that you have to have a body fat of under 25%. And it says that in the literature. And what it does is it will grab the skin. It is a vacuum. It looks like almost like a vacuum that you would put on the skin. And in order to prevent frostbite, which is what happens when you make tissue, when you freeze tissue, it becomes dead. In order to prevent frostbite, they put a little plastic web on. And the web is like an insulation, which prevents the skin from getting so cold that it would kill the skin. And then in 50 minutes, they're getting better technology now where they do it in 30 minutes. But what it's doing is it's vacuuming and sucking the skin in between these two pads. And then once it's between the pads, it locks and stops. It holds it close. And then between 30 minutes or 50 minutes, depends on the age of the machine, the tissue between that, it kills it. It basically freezes it. So it leaves dead tissue. Now, as you know, with anything, once they remove the pads and they smooth it out, it takes anywhere between 4 to 6 to 12 weeks before that dead tissue is absorbed by the body through its normal lymphatic channels. And after that, and it allows you a spot of treatment that's probably about as big as a stick of butter. And that's what they call it. It's called a stick of butter because when that machine pulls the tissue and freezes it, it's all red and looks almost like a hickey, like a hematoma. Without damaging the skin. And then after 3 months, that one area about the size of, your cell phone, a big phone, not as big as your iPad. We're talking, about the size of a stick of butter. That's where you get that reduction in the fat. So, and then the other one, the hot lasers, the Sculpture and the Safe Sculpt. And by the way, the other one, the freezing thing, they're claiming a 25% reduction in the fat of that area. And that's the way they don't promise inch results. They don't really have any way of, but they're saying that losing 25% of the thickness of that fatty layer. And to me, that isn't very scientific because what if you have an enormous amount of fat? What 25% is an enormous amount of fat. If you have a lot, if you're very, very thin, 25% is minimal, and it's probably correct. So, and the other one uses a hot laser, one which heats up the tissue and burns it, and then it kills the fat cells by heating the temperature of the tissue over 100 to 110 degrees, which is enough to destroy, to make the tissue die. And what happens is with that procedure, it's like a metal apparatus. It's like a belt you put on. And then they clamp it to these two spots so they can't move it. And the laser energy starts to heat up. It gets hotter and hotter. And once a person feels like it's too hot, there's a mechanism where they cool the plate. It's a glass plate that touches the skin. When it starts to get too hot, you go, okay, it's about all I can take. And then what they do is it cools it. And then they start to ramp it up again. It gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Once it gets where you really can't stand it, it cools it again. They do that for, 30, 40 minutes to that area. And then each time when they take that off, what happens is within 3 to 6 to 8 to 12 weeks later, the tissue that was destroyed under the skin is absorbed as dead tissue. And then hopefully you'll have an inch result. So the best way that I can describe it is it's kind of like, suppose I was to take somebody and let's say you had this outer layer and I was going to use my fists. I would never do this. Please. I would never do this to anybody, but here's kind of how it works. So if I was to take my fist and start punching that belly fat, not enough to hurt the skin. I don't want to hurt the skin, and I don't want to damage the organs behind the muscle. So it's just enough energy to kind of pop, 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 and keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And over, within 30, 40, 50 minutes, you're going to be like, I'm done. Stop. And what we've done is we've damaged the tissue underneath the skin. We've broken the cells. We've knocked them off of there. We've affected the cell membranes have just been destroyed. And what's going to happen is when I'm done doing that, you're going to swell. There's going to be swelling because you got punched. And then you're going to notice it's black and blue. It might be black and blue. There's fluid produced. There's exudate. The body has to heal that tissue. And then over 3 to 6 to 8 to 12 weeks later, you will absorb those tissues that were damaged by the insult. That's kind of what these procedures are doing in a very metered, careful way. They're destroying the tissue. It's called apoptosis. And the problem with apoptosis and destroying tissue is your fat cells are not just mindless, empty containers that hold fat. When people think of their fat cells, oh, hell, just suck them out, get rid of them, pull them out. I don't want them. Well, you know what? Your fat is an endocrine organ. In fact, your fat produces more endocrine hormonal things your body needs than your hormonal system, more than your adrenal glands, more than your thyroid, all that. I mean, they're all just as important, but your fat produces hormones. Produces estrogen, estradiol, it produces resistin, it produces leptin and ghrelin. These are the things which prevent you from wanting to overeat. It also produces anti-inflammatories. They're called cytokines. So your fatty tissue, when it's involved in an injury, it produces the substances which mediate an inflammatory response. So high levels of fat lead people to be inflamed all the time. That's why they have inflammation. Those same fat cells, when they're in their early phase, which is when they're immature, can differentiate into other tissues. They're called precursor cells, and this is what they're using in these new stem cell injections that are not from babies. It's not from embryos or anything like that. What they're doing is they're using stem cells to help repair your shoulder damage, muscle damage, and they're taking fat cells from an area where they're easily collected, such as your buttock, and they pull them out with a syringe, and then they spin these fat cells down in a centrifuge, and then they inject, they put in these fat cells that have been spun down, and they inject that into the injury. And those fat cells can differentiate and form the tissues that maybe were damaged, like they're precursors for the cartilage and for the muscle and all different things. My point is you don't want to, you don't want a lot of fat. You don't want to remove your fat cells. You just want them to be smaller. Let's not remove fat cells. Let's just make them smaller, right? The non-invasive slim body procedure, non-invasive low-level laser, it changes the permeability of the fat cells. It causes the fatty acid to be released in a very predictable, very safe manner. So in 30 minutes on the laser with our procedure, it releases 600 calories, approximately, of free fatty acid. Now, those calories are trapped in the outer space. They're in the interstitial space. They're not in your digestive tract yet. You can't burn them that easily. We use whole body vibration to move them from the outer compartment into the inner compartment through the lymphatic system. So 30 minutes on the laser, 10 minutes on whole body vibration. You don't eat food 2 hours before the laser or 2 hours afterwards. And what happens is at the midway point, when you come in, you haven't eaten in 2 hours, you put the laser on. At the second hour, you're after the vibration plate, 600 calories is pushed into the system. At the second hour, your blood sugar starts to drop. And if you don't have food, your body's going to go to stored energy. It needs calories. We are timing the release of these stored energy in your outer compartment, goes into the system right when you get hungry, when this blood sugar drops. And for the next 3 to 4 hours, you actually burn the fatty acid from the laser, not from your food source. So you're literally siphoning off body fat, burning it efficiently over the next 3 to 4 hours. And when it's gone, it's gone. It's out of the body. And you get an inch reduction in that compartment, in that area that we applied the laser to. And so, yes, it's someone that has a lot of weight, they need a lot of laser treatments to treat the belly, the legs, the stomach, the arms. They're limited to 600 calories, 30 minutes on the laser each time. So somebody that has a lot of different areas, their plan might be, our plans begin at 9 sessions. That's so somebody can see and feel how it works. But a lot of people, just because of their own, body type genetic, they need a lot more than 9 sessions. But this laser can be done again and again and again and again until you get the look you want. It is not that expensive when you compare it to 1 day in a hospital trying to find out why you have diabetes, 4 or 5, 10 grand in the hospital. The medications to help a person. There's one drug now, this Saxenda drug that they're using for weight loss. This thing is like $1,400 a month, and you have to do it for 12 months. The price is like $14,000. One of my clients came in who's been put on the Saxenda, and you know what she said? I don't know how much it is. My insurance pays for it. Well, but you're paying the insurance. What's your, how much is your copay? How much is your payments? I know my insurance is like $6,000 a year now, and I got a crisis plan. I guess it's because I'm 58. I'm high risk these days. But so, people, this is as near to perfect as you can get. I mean that. It's not 100% perfect. There's a lot of factors that come into play. That's why you need somebody like me to be able to decipher and explain the procedure, look at your findings, look at what you come in with. Everybody comes in with their own bag of stuff, I like to say. And if you don't have a doctor or someone that is really understands the procedure, has treated thousands of people, and can see things that are not okay to make better, this is where you run into being unhappy with a lot of these places. A lot of my competitor, I don't have any competitors, by the way. We're number one. However, the people that are trying to save a few dollars or think maybe we're expensive because we're so popular is not true. You're not really getting the best qualified opinion from those people. Oftentimes there's no doctors there. They don't have to be a doctor to do red light therapy. You do to have a laser, but not for red light. So they have these things, they call them laser-like lipo, laser-like. And so what does that mean? You're comparing it. So it's kind of like successful like, but I'm not really successful, but I look like I'm, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, if you're interested in coming in, finding out, this is the time to do it. We're opening up. I would tell you by mid-February, we're going to be so packed that there'll be a 3 to 4 week wait to even get into the office. Right now, we still have some openings. And you know what I'm going to do is I have a fantastic testimonial that we did a couple of years back. And can you do that? Well, we can't do that one, right? That's right. It's in the wrong format, correct?
Right. Next week.
Okay. Next week, we're going to do it. It's Tom and Bonnie, and next week, and they came in as a couple, and they just rocked. They did so good when they came in for the laser spa. So we're there to help. We just want to be helpful. We're located on East Ocean Boulevard. That's in Stewart, right across from the Fresh Market, and free consultations. It's 9 sessions in 3 weeks. So you're there for an hour. 3 times a week for 3 weeks. That's our average plan. Digital pictures, measurements, nutritional evaluation, BMI. BMR is calculated with a very high-end machine, no error rate there. And then we have a 3-inch guarantee money back in 9 sessions that you'll lose at least an inch in 3 spots. As you heard from Angela, she got it the first day. Most people will get it the first day or 2, but they still want to have some type of risk reversal that we're taking some of the, we're accepting some of the responsibility. We were at the Vero Beach Art Under the Oaks, which is at the Riverside Park. Beautiful place. And we signed 5 people from Vero Beach coming in the early part of December, and they're just finishing up. So they're driving an hour one way. Oof. In the middle of Florida traffic, because of the results, because nobody's doing this around their area. We have people coming up. I had 2 clients, a husband and a wife, drive up from Aventura. Now, I know what it's like to drive from down south. That's a heck of a drive. It's an hour and a half one way, and you can be stuck in traffic. So we timed it properly. Another thing that works well for people when they come from Fort Pierce and Vero Beach area is they take the ocean road. You know, they go onto the beaches, Hutchison Island, past the power plant. It's a nice, pleasant drive. You come right over across the Stewart Causeway, and we're right there on the right. We have openings till 6 o'clock, begin at 8, 7. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Any questions, Mike? What do we got? 5 minutes left?
We got about 5 minutes. I would say.
Anything I left out?
Well,
Mike's been doing this with me a long time.
No, and you've gone through a lot of information here today. It's been really a good show, I think, and you can check it out on our YouTube page. If you missed any part of it, just go to YouTube, check out WSTU 1450 there, and you can re-listen to any parts that you might have missed. But I would say the one thing I think a lot of people would struggle with, and this is something that I struggled with when I was listening to your show before I had the opportunity to come in and kind of see it all firsthand, is it's hard for me to visualize what this machine looks like and what it is doing. So when you walk into the room to actually get this laser treatment done, what are you seeing?
Well, the machine is the electrical, the head unit, they call it, is about as big as a small microwave. So it's electric, it sits on a desk right next to you. And then there's what they call paddles. The paddles are where the laser diodes are embedded into the paddle. So picture an LG phone or an iPhone.
Yeah.
And on the front where the glass is, you'd have 8 little diodes in that. So that's one paddle.
Okay.
And we have a machine that has 4 paddles, and then we have another machine that we have 8 paddles. From those 8 paddles, you have 64 diodes, and you apply those directly to the skin, and you hold them on with a very light Velcro strap. So, the energy, it's not a heating device. There's no heat that's left out. So you can put your hand on it, and it will not burn you, but it's biostimulatory. That energy targets the contents of a fat cell. And when that energy strikes the fatty membranes for 8 to 10 minutes, it releases the contents of the fatty acid, and the cell remains intact. It does not damage the cell. And then from that point on, it's a natural process for your body to absorb and to burn those calories. That's why eating less, being healthy, doing the vibration plate, watching your calories is a really important part of the process, because otherwise it would be like trying to lose weight after you just had a big strawberry shortcake. It'd be really hard.
And I think it's important too to point out, as our caller mentioned earlier, and we've talked about before, it doesn't put off heat.
That's right.
It doesn't flash this big red light. It's not like a red flashlight that's going around the room. I mean, you've said you can see the beam when you look at it through your phone camera.
Right.
But that's about it. It's not like you can.
Well, everybody wears protective glasses because that's one of the requirements with a laser.
Sure. Absolutely.
We have markers on the door so everybody knows, we follow the FDA.
But it's you can look at this device and it's not like it's really obnoxious or obvious that things are going on.
When you think of laser, you think of a big beam in a lab,
with
a big light, and you put something between and it pulverizes it, it smokes it,
Or the James Bond scene.
Yeah, it's not like that.
No,
these are therapeutic lasers.
Yes,
therapeutic lasers.
And it's amazing to me that I still remember clear as day the first time I sat through and went through the program and sitting there wondering, is this thing on? Did they screw up and leave it off? Because I don't feel anything. There's no heat. There's no nothing. I'm not even sure if it's working. I don't feel anything happening inside. But we measured myself before I got on the table and measured myself as soon as I got off the table, and there was a clear reduction of about 1.5 inches just from one treatment.
Right, and the measurements are done with marks. And that tape is applied directly to the same measurement you started with. And we use a locking tape measure, one that clicks, click, click, click. So you can't really tighten it like you would with a tape. So, it gives us a more reproducible result. Hey, your wife?
She's ready. She's coming in.
So I had to reach out to Mike this Christmas, and he did the plan twice, right before he got married, and then right before
the it was the best thing that happened to the wedding.
I'm not going to ask him a third time. So I asked. I'd have never met his wife. I'm sure she's beautiful. Maybe everybody has their little spot, and she agreed. So
She's excited.
We're going to set her to come in, and I hope that you all listen and tune in, and maybe she'll be brave enough to at least allow Mike to share her results.
Oh, yeah.
Story about it, because it's a pretty powerful, effective tool. So slimbodylaserspa.com. Go on YouTube. Go on. You can say Dr. Tread on your cell phone. Take your little Google thing. You hit the thing, beep beep, and say Dr. Tread Slim Body Laser Spa. It'll go right to my address. We've been branding my name, Dr. Tread, so you don't even have to remember Slim Body Laser Spa anymore. You can come on in. We have openings available today. I'd love to see you. Come in, say hi, and we'll see you next week. Okay. And remember, think thin and eat well. Bye-bye.